Take a moment and think about a salad that you had recently. The lettuce alone in that salad has traveled thousands of miles. It was harvested over a week prior to that, still covered in pesticides and herbicides at that point. The salad itself has consumed millions of gallons of water in its journey and in order to grow. And yet 40 to 50% of that produce was wasted in the journey to your plate.
We're the founding farmers of HomeGrown Farms, an indoor farming hydroponic technology company outside of the Philadelphia region. We seek to eliminate the waste and inefficiencies of our food supply system. My name is Parth Chauhan. I'm the CEO of HGF. I graduated from the Elliott School in 2013, and I've been a public policy consultant for 3 years before I became a farmer.
My name is Zio Patel. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. I bring 2 years of experience in operations and automation technology.
I'm Raghav Garg, our Chief Financial Officer, and I bring 3 years of experience in digital advertising and marketing, as well as 8 months of experience with startups.
And I'm Pranav Kaul, our Chief Science Officer. I'm a senior in the Elliott School studying global public health and biology, and I have extensive research experience in nutrition and healthcare issues. HomeGrown Farms, or HGF, is a business-to-business indoor farming company that yields hyperlocal, sustainable produce by using the most innovative hydroponic technology. Our USDA-certified crops are grown under LED lights in a nutrient-rich water solution without the use of harmful chemicals. Since we're indoors and able to control all aspects of the environment, HGF crops are able to grow faster and healthier than traditional farms. Our mission at HomeGrown is very simple: grow local, eat local.
Domestically, we change the way we grow, distribute, and eat our food. We not only target the $15 billion organic vegetable market, but the much larger vegetable production market as a whole. HGF promotes regional, sustainable food systems.
What we're designed to do is to limit the waste and inefficiencies that exist in an already well-established food system. We know the United States does have a strong food supply system. However, there's also problems with it, as the ones that Pranav mentioned. What HGF is able to do is streamline these waste points and drop out 3 macro steps in the supply chain of produce that are traditionally associated with these farms. That allows for us to be healthier, allows us to be cheaper, faster, and tastier than our competitors. At the same time, these savings not only help our bottom line, but the environment as well.
We reduce food miles from 1,500 miles down to a mere 30 miles. We reduce our fertilizer use to 20% and water consumption to just 10% of traditional use. We never use any herbicides or pesticides to ensure no chemicals are leaking into our environment. HGF is harvest to fork within 48 hours.
What we're currently operating out of is a 320 square foot shipping container. And in that small space, we're able to grow an acre's worth of crops, around 15,000 pounds of produce. To put that in some scale, what would normally take a football field-sized farm, we can do in a space basically smaller than this stage. Eventually, we'll be growing hundreds of thousands of pounds of produce in a warehouse setting.
Today, in cities like Philadelphia, the lack of year-round, locally sourced leafy greens and fresh herbs cause major quality concerns for chefs at high-end restaurants and supply constraints for procurement officers at institutions with sustainability initiatives. Our go-to-market strategy is to sell to these 2 customer segments by addressing these major pain points in their operation. We've already seen substantial traction with both of these groups.
HGF offers numerous value propositions to our clients. For example, with chefs at high-end restaurants, we're able to simplify their supply chain and at the same time provide vegetables with great taste and consistent taste. Now, in addition to this, we're looking to work with institutions who value a premium local product and are large enough to minimize our deliveries. For example, we're currently working with the University of Pennsylvania on their local food initiative 365 days a year. Normally, these chefs are unable to get any kind of hyperlocal produce from November to March, the time when their dining halls are the most busy. We're able to fill this need, and we're able to balance the sales from our high-end restaurants and our institutions in order to ensure a consistent stream of revenue.
HGF's leafy greens and fresh herbs are in incredibly high demand. We've already spoken with over 50 restaurants and institutions in the Philadelphia region who are ready to purchase from us today. We currently do not have the supply capacity to meet this demand, but we see great opportunity for expansion in this region with your help.
Our produce grown at scale costs us $1.86 a pound to grow, and we're currently being able to sell at an average of $8.50 a pound. In our optimized growing unit, against $100,000 in upfront costs, we're able to attain a gross profit margin of 49.5%, which equates to more than $50,000 annually. As we scale up to a warehouse, because of things such as economies of scale, our hyperlocal distribution network, And our optimized LED technology, our gross profit margin actually increases to 76.3%, which, assuming a 10,000 square foot warehouse, means that our annual gross profits are more than $3.8 million.
So the capital costs involved in a 10,000 square foot warehouse will be $3 million. That $3 million is a fully optimized, fully utilized warehouse system. However, we won't need that $3 million up front. Rather, our business and our farm is designed to be built out in a modular fashion. What that means is we can take smaller investments of $200,000 each and use them to develop different grow rooms. Each of these grow rooms will be optimized and developed according to a specific client or type of crop. Once we're generating revenue from that one grow room, we'll be able to generate revenues and leverage that into our second grow room, our third grow room, eventually having 5 grow rooms per 10,000 square foot warehouse. This will allow for us to keep our costs low while expanding our network and allow for us to increase our revenue and our profits. This is extremely essential because it allows for us to expand into new markets faster than our competitors and to develop stronger relationships than our competitors. We also have other significant advantages over other people in the indoor farming field. People like Aero Farms and Gotham Greens. We have significant advantages compared to them, and we're going to talk about more of our competitive advantages now.
HEF has partnered with Archimedes Lights to bring radical new LED technology to our system. These LEDs do not only enhance our plant growth, but reduce our overall energy costs down by 60%. This is 10% more than any of our competitors. HEF is currently developing a patentable hydroponic system.
Our advisory board is phenomenal. It's comprised of local government officials, agricultural researchers, electrical engineers, and capital investors. Some of these names include Mahesh Gandhi, a director of business development at GE, Ali Long, the founder and director of the Local Food Alliance, Samir Patel, a private investor and Harvard MBA, and of course, Mario Cardullo, a serial entrepreneur most famously known as the inventor of the RFID chip.
An important part of our competitive advantage is our social impact. Our positive impact makes our clients like UPenn more incentivized to work with us. We're able to hire from locally distressed communities. In a place like Camden in particular, which has a very high unemployment rate, we're working with South Jersey's largest nonprofit for job training. They provide vetted employees for our farm facilities, and eventually we'll be growing produce in their local communities. We can also donate a significant portion of our produce to local food banks. Food banks have come to us and asked for things like kale and arugula and spinach, especially during the winter months. They just don't simply have any supply of these fresh, nutritious produce. We're actually able to work with the local chefs and food banks and figure out what exactly they want, what they need, and drop it off, instead of just handing over leftovers every now and then.
Now, you may wonder why a for-profit business would donate almost 2,600 pounds out of the 15,000 that we can grow in an optimized container. Well, first, it reflects our company values in helping support and creating strong ties with our local communities. Second, the tax deductions from the donations are valued at $1.25 million over the next 10 years. On top of that, we'll be earning an additional $4 million in sellable tax credits in that same time period. Now, our social impact model means that the estimated 90,000 pounds of produce we'll be donating from a warehouse will not only maximize our tax deductions, it'll also help feed an estimated 1,700 Americans for a year. We not only boost our impact on our communities, we help boost the impact on our investors' bottom lines.
Now, our homegrown business model has 3 main phases. We're currently in phase 1, during which we're using a modified shipping container to serve as our proof of market. Now, we're using the relatively low startup costs associated with these containers in order to help de-risk our venture in the short term and to help us establish a strong customer base within our first year.
After 6 months in phase 1, we move on to phase 2, where we optimize our technology and move it to scale into a warehouse system. Warehouses come with the added benefit of tax benefits, as well as below market value pricing, especially in cities like Camden that are looking for repurposement.
So after a year in phase 2, we'll move on to phase 3, where we expand to cities across the US. We'll be focusing on cities such as DC and Minneapolis that have low access to but high demand for year-round produce. What we'll be doing is taking a shipping container from a previous location and testing out a new market. This type of model allows for rapid assessment and expansion of markets, since poor performing markets can be dissolved with little loss of capital.
Beyond this growth model, HEF has the opportunity for numerous applications in various sectors, from feeding military bases through DoD projects to feeding migrant camps through US aid projects. And the market for local and indoor farming around the world is vast and still growing because land and water issues are becoming more and more prevalent all across the globe. We're very excited as a team to explore all of these future opportunities for our company.
So our marketing strategy is simple. Provide great produce to local companies, good jobs to local residents, and help our communities become more food independent and sustainable. We're currently seeing a lot of positive support from restaurants and universities who want to feature us on their menus. We're also getting a lot of free press in places such as Marketplace Radio, in newspapers, and in magazines, which in turn has led to new clients approaching us to see if they can order from us. Currently, we're only able to provide for a small portion of UPenn's total vegetable consumption, but they and others are interested in larger and larger purchase orders with homegrown farms as we grow. No pun intended.
To date, we have invested $75,000 of our own personal savings to get HGF off the ground. We've developed operations, built strong client relations, and we are now growing our produce. We see great market opportunity. We know where we can go, and we just need your help to get there.
The $35,000 prize will help accelerate our timeline for growth by 8 months. It will allow us to accomplish 3 major things. We'll be able to order our customized LEDs, we'll be able to complete our patent application, and we'll be able to complete more and more research and development into the nutrition and optimization of our system. At the same time, it'll come with the credibility and the honor of winning something like the GW New Venture competition, which will give a lot of name and credence in front of investors and clients as we expand the company in the future. We have a positive and powerful impact socially, environmentally, as well as financially for our investors. We know exactly what we can do with this prize money, and we really need your help in getting to the next level. Please help us grow local so our communities can eat local. Thank you.
Great presentation, guys. 2 questions. One is, I didn't notice any place for rent in your financial statements. So,
Raghav, you want to take that? I'll go to the pro forma.
So that is accounted in our finances. This is a deeper dive. So for the warehouse, from the market prices and things we've been looking at, we're estimating about $90,000 in leasing costs, including all of the taxes and maintenance fees. For container units, we've been exploring various markets, and we've actually found multiple partners in places such as Idaho or Colorado and other cities that have been willing to put this. It's only 320 square feet, so actually give us the land for free.
Okay, and the second question is, you talked about making an impact in communities that have unemployment, like a Camden, for example. But I didn't hear anything about employee training. How do you train those employees to work in the context of a new technology, a new growing?
So what we're currently doing is working with nonprofits, and there's a lot of nonprofits in these economically depressed areas that are focusing on job training. For example, in Camden, we're working with Respond Inc. They've been able to train hundreds of employees in various different fields. So they've taken people and trained them in auto body repair, all the way up to being cooks and chefs at local restaurants. So they are actually specializing in doing a wide array. We've actually created a manual of employment and kind of employment requirements in terms of what will be needed on a farming system. And we're able to tell the nonprofits, hey, this is what we'd like our job training module to look like. They actually vet the employees, work with them, make sure that they have a good background and all of that, and then they move into our system.
You mentioned that you're charging $8.50 a pound. How does that compare to conventional sources?
Yeah, Raghav?
Sure, so that's actually the market price. So we've been doing a lot of market research, talking to restaurants and institutions, and the $8.50 is actually what we're selling for today.
And that $8.50 came from the existing contracts that we have with UPenn, and we were able to match the price that UPenn had earlier.
Okay. And you talked about filing patents. So you guys, the big differentiator here is sort of these customized LED lights that you've developed. You're sourcing them from a company, but you guys actually developed them, and you're trying to own the IP around that, and that's your competitive advantage.
So yeah, we've developed this partnership with the Archimedes lights that's allowed us to have these new LED systems that are more efficient and eventually will help us really take an edge off of anyone else in the field. Ron, do you want to talk?
In addition to that, we're hoping to use this money for R&D in order to develop our system more so that we can protect other parts of it as a whole.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you discuss the competitive landscape and you say your production costs are 90% less than the competitors, and it's due to secrets and goodies. I mean, I'm a little, mean,
I'm sorry,
how's
so
that-
the 90%, just to clarify, we use 90% less water and 80% less fertilizer in terms of the resources we use in our inputs.
Okay, your statement says our current designs, warehouse farms, are estimated to cost 90% less than other competitors.
Oh, I'm sorry, our modular system for our warehouse is 50% cheaper in terms of our design than other farms out there. It's because of the way that we have our modular system as well as the LEDs that we're using. We're able to get a better pricing module, and we're working in a different, in our market, our target markets are actually cheaper than people trying to fit these boxes inside of a place like New York City.
And as far as taste is concerned and quality,
We've had taste testings at UPenn with the executive chef team, and when we dropped off our produce for the first time, they had a couple leftovers and they asked us, hey, can we keep this produce? It's that good. And originally the plan was we would be integrating our produce into their market or into their salad bar slowly but surely. They tasted it and said, this is too good for us to mix in with someone else's produce. We want this all by itself, a standalone item. So the quality is there, it's stronger, it's fresher, it's tastier than all the other competition that we've had out there.
On one of your slides where you had the $8.50 estimate per pound that you're selling at, what was the per pound cost, and how does that compare against other potential suppliers of greens and produce to your target markets?
Yeah, Rago?
Sure. So grown at scale, our per pound cost is $1.86, and it's cheaper by far than traditional farming, solely because we're eliminating a lot of the inefficiencies in the system. Our network is much smaller, so we're eliminating a vast majority of distribution costs. We're also, what we're growing actually grows faster in our system because it's similar to growing in a perfect optimal environment every day and all day. So we grow faster, fresher, and cheaper.
At the same time, it's also a consistent price point. We know it's going to be $1.86. If we have rain tomorrow or if the sun doesn't come out for a week or a month, that doesn't affect us.
Are there any particular diseases or mites or issues that you have to deal with that are unique to the container setting or to the LED setting, or have you not actually run enough cycles to know if that's true?
Right.
Go ahead,
So there's a lot of research actually on hydroponics and compared to soil-based farming. So as you guys might know, soil-based farming runs a lot of risks with outbreaks. E. coli is a major one, and there are many others, and that's involved not just in the growing stages, but in the processing stages. So what we've discovered is that with hydroponics, we basically eliminate that risk because microorganisms don't exist in our water trays and our systems. And then when we plan to scale up, we plan to maintain these grow rooms in a very contained environment. So the workers will be like going through clean rooms and walking in, making sure there's no contamination. And then in the event of an outbreak or any kind of disease that may happen, we have recall protocols set up and established so that we can trace the tray or the shelf that this produce may have come from a lot faster and more efficiently than traditional farms.
I love the slide. Help me understand why your profit explodes so much, and why you wouldn't just keep going more distributed and do containers all over the city as opposed to a larger warehouse.
Yeah, Rago?
So going to a warehouse gives us a lot of benefits. Currently in a container, we can only grow to the height of the container. In a warehouse, we're a vertical farm, so we can actually create more and more shelves, which allows us to grow more produce in the same footprint. Also, economies of scale, we become just a lot more optimized where we have one harvest room for a massive amount of growing space rather than in a container where it's, one container, we can only grow this much, and then we need this much room to harvest. So there's a lot of shared resources, and the containers are more a great way for us to assess new potential markets at a low risk, because if that market, the demand isn't quite there, or the price point isn't there, we can just take that container and move it to the next market.
At the same time, in our warehouse setting, we can employ a lot more local people. You can barely fit 2 or 3 of us in a container at a time. So.
What have you done to date? Just a little bit about the sort of the proof of concept, and I don't know, how many runs have you done, or how do you measure?
Yeah. So we've had 3 cycles of leafy greens. We've had 4 cycles of herbs so far, and we've been sold out to UPenn. Starting in May, we're going to be starting to do our delivery system with UPenn with all of their purchase orders, as well as other restaurants like Walkworks in the Philadelphia area. And we've spoken with other universities and larger scale dining networks like Bon Appetit and Sodexo.
How long is the cycle? So how long for leafy greens and
So
how long for herbs?
For leafy greens in the field, it would take 9 weeks. For us, we can cut that down to 6 weeks, and that's from nursery all the way down to people basically eating the food.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.